Hello and welcome to Edge Talk Radio. My name is Angela Zabel, that's me, and today we are going to be talking about trust, intuition, and your future self with Master Theta Healer and author Karen Abrams from California. I can't wait to get into this one. It's been so much fun. We've had Karen on before, so make sure to check out her past episode and then pop back into this one. So, who am I? I am Angela Zabel. I have been connected to spirit, working with a team in the non-physical my entire life. I have been sharing messages with people, and I am a teacher, coach, medium, radio show host, retreat host, gallery reader, speaker, offering guidance, intuition, and mediumship with online and group sessions. And I also have online classes and the Amplified Universe monthly membership. This is growing our connection to us, our world, and all that is around us as we move forward. So make sure to check out more about me at angelazable.com and pretty much all the social media aspects out there. Now I'm going to try to put this into focus. Here we go. So this is Edge Magazine. Edge Magazine is the leading events and media resource dedicated to all aspects of holistic living, health, and wellness, and the mysteries beyond. Sharing information, wisdom, and resources committed to promoting businesses, organizations, and individuals who support our collective journey to wholeness and balance. They are currently distributed in 30 states and Canada with over 17,000 magazines per printing and a vibrant online magazine with over 42,000 people reached per month. Have a magazine shipped to your door, stay up to date with the newsletter, become a drop spot, and also listen and watch the Being Curious show with Kelly Wagner. And that you can find out more about that at edgemagazine.net. And today we are here with Karen Abrams. She is a prominent Theta Healing Master Healer, gifted intuitive, and international best-selling author. Her keen sense of humor, insight, and healing abilities have made her a star on the radio, podcasts, and international telesummits. Karen has been interviewed on more than 100 media outfits, including Lisa Garr's FM radio broadcast, The Aware Show, as well as the Wealth Revolution. I've got to check out that one. And the Science of Superpowers and the award-winning Dare to Dream radio. She uses her gifts to help entrepreneurs and professionals gain confidence, financial security, and personal fulfillment. Karen focuses on the profound impact of relationships with yourself, others, your body, money, that's a big one, and spirituality. She believes these are foundational for creating holistic success in life. Karen specializes in transforming the inner critic into a supportive and trusted ally. She uses her abilities to tap directly into the subconscious mind to remove limiting beliefs, clear negative thought patterns, and relieve self-sabotage. This empowers you to manifest your desires with greater ease and grace. To guide clients in individual and group sessions, Karen intuitively receives information from the God source and draws directions from the spiritual guides, ancestors, past lives, and loved ones that have passed. In these sessions, she facilitates the release of mental blocks, deep-seated fears, post-traumatic stress, cycles of abuse, cycles of poverty, and more. She is there using her unique and miraculous healing gifts, includes the ability to communicate with the body to find and heal at the root level the causes of illness, pain, and diseases. She leads group and private healing sessions as well as teaches self-love, healing your relationship with money, bringing the energy of your future self into your present life, intimacy, and turning down the volume on your inner bully. So make sure to check out, there'll be a link down below, a Love Yourself meditation that she's giving free to the listeners here. So make sure to check on that and check out her website, thinktheta.com, and also on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So, Karen, you've been doing so much throughout your life, and I've got to say, I had such a great time having you on before, and now I get to do number two. Thank
Yay.
you for being here. And how did you get going in theta healing?
I got going as a bystander. I was
Oh,
watching a friend of mine change her life, and I got to sit on the sidelines eating popcorn, watching the whole thing happen. So she had a lot going on, you know, and I'm sure you can relate. She had a long-term relationship that wasn't going where she wanted it to go. She had health issues that doctors weren't able to help her with. And then she had so much emotional baggage that she
Mm,
would get triggered by her clients and alienate them, get in fights with them and
mm.
arguments, not, you know, none of that. That's a level of dysfunction she did not possess. But yeah, and so she would alienate her clients. So even though she had an MBA, her business was flailing. And
Mm,
she started working with Vienna Steibel, who is the founder of Theta Healing.
thanks.
And I watched over what I believe is a very short period of time change all these major areas of her life. She transformed that relationship into a beautiful friendship with like no break. Just her health started to improve, and she started attracting the right practitioners that could help her move to a different space, you know, and get better. And then she started healing those root causes of all those triggers that were coming up with people that she barely knew, and her business started taking off. And so the money thing for me, when I saw that happen, that's the thing that really got me the most, because
Mm,
I was having a problem. I was having an income ceiling. I was dealing with an income ceiling, and it was a new, you know, I didn't know what to do about it because I was so ambitious. And so, you know, I kept hitting that ceiling, and I couldn't get past it. So I decided to take Vienna's class that my friend was hosting in Los Angeles, when it was a basic theta healing class. And I remember at the end of it just feeling very grounded
mm.
with this new sense of clarity and space. Those were the things. I was walking around in my, you know, now what I know what that is, I was fully embodied. But at that point, I didn't know what that was. And I had been going to a therapist for a year and a half at this point in time for anxiety. And we had gotten this down and I'd had the anxiety for 6 years. And we had gotten that down from like an 11 to about a 3. And still at the 3, I was waking up startled every day. I was shaking from the inside out. My body was shaking from the inside out. And it was really unsettling to be in my body. It was which is probably why I was floating up, you know, around it. And in that moment of walking around my apartment and feeling that sense of space and groundedness and clarity, I went, oh my gosh, my anxiety is gone. And
Mm.
usually when I had a moment of calm, my system was just default that the norm was anxiety. So I'd have like 10 seconds. I'm like, no, 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 no. Right. And it would just put that toggle switch, go, nope, we're going back. And you're like, oh, I'm back here. Right. I got like a moment. Right. But in that moment, nothing happened.
Oh,
Nothing happened. I stayed. And there was no part of my brain trying to find that switch and turn it back on. And I flipped out. I signed up for every class this woman, Vienna had. And in the near future, I went to Idaho, where that was her home base. And that's where she taught a lot of her classes too, when Vienna didn't come out to Los Angeles. And then I did practice classes, and about 3 weeks in, some of the symptoms of the anxiety came back, but came back at like this really low level.
mm,
And by then I was practicing a few times a week, and I was just chipping it away until there must have been some point, because it wasn't as dramatic as the first time of all and then nothing,
mm.
that it just slowly faded away. And so I stopped noticing that that was something I had. And lucky for me, I had a very long list of things to work out. So it's just the next thing popped up to the top. And, you know, that's kind of how we go, right? And especially if you're somebody who's into, you know, working on yourself, once something gets off the list, you're like, oh, okay, now I can work on this. And so it was really a remarkable experience. And I was able to double my income. You know, my business blew up in the good way, right? It started to soar, and I started getting interviews. It was like all these wonderful things started happening within a very, very short period of time. And I thank God it happened, you know, thank God every day.
I love the fact that, you said once you started going through it, your anxiety started leaving.
Mhm.
And when that, because there's a lot of people with anxiety out there.
Oh
Anxiety
yeah.
is through the roof at this time.
Yeah.
When you started releasing that anxiety, what type of relief were you feeling in your own personal life? Did it help other aspects of your life besides just it almost feels like you were in a cage before.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like you have an alarm clock underneath your sweater, and it's just going off. It's like, so you feel that, you remember those little hammers that would go on the
Yeah.
bell? I felt like that hammer was right here the whole time. And so you're constantly um, taking care of that even before you say hello. And so your whole demeanor, the way that you move into the world, even if nobody else knows that this is going on, it affects your decisions, everywhere. And with the work that I do now, I mean, I was able, when I finally discovered this, I realized I was able to get into the root causes of what was going on with me and what was causing me to make these decisions that sabotage my life. And I felt like I could never get past this certain level, and I was never going to have a long-term relationship. And it really helped me. I was already in what turned out to be my long-term relationship in my marriage, but we were very, very different people. And so we locked horns on certain things, and I wasn't sure if those were going to be deal breakers or not. And I remember having a conversation in one of my classes where, when I was going through with the education in a practice class, where somebody asked me, does my partner have to be different in order for me to accept her? And I thought, oh, I thought it was the other way around. I kept complaining, like, man, she's too conventional and she doesn't like what I'm doing. And I got it turned around on me. And, why does she have to be different in order for me to accept her? And I went, you know, and that became the basis of first accepting myself and also accepting her. And we've been together, we're going on 24 years at this point in time,
Wow.
and have a
Congratulations.
family and have a remarkable relationship, remarkable family. And I'm very, I feel very, very grateful, and I'm very, very proud of that part of my life, like really, really proud. And so, yeah, that was it. And you know what? Actually, we didn't talk about even what this work is.
I was going to say, what is theta healing?
Yeah, and by the way, what is this thing you're doing that did so much wonderful things for so many
I
wonderful
do want to
things?
back up one thing though before
Sure,
we actually go into it is
sure.
my team is kind of niggling. They just want everyone to know just because you're changing and doing and going into this self-growth doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose relationships. You can actually take
Oh, I
relationships you
know.
already have and make them better and make
Yeah.
them deeper and make them more enjoyable and fun. So they just keep saying there's so much fear about the change in relationships. Other times it can be so, so good.
Oh yeah, and that was my fear too, was that because that was happening to some people around me where these relationships were ending, and I thought, oh no, I love her, like I'm like, oh, yeah. And what I realized is really that doesn't have to happen. That and clearly here it didn't, because the relationship that's the most important in your life is your relationship to yourself. And you were
Yes.
talking about, I was saying, I have this triangle where it's your relationship to yourself, a relationship to others, which include your relationship to yourself includes your body too, and then
Yeah.
relationship to others, and then your relationship to money, because that's like the outside energy that is still about loving yourself. All of these things are about loving yourself. And that point is very important. So when you do deep work like this, you learn
Mm.
to love and accept yourself. And that's the most important relationship. And then you look around and you're like, I love this person. I need to accept who they are. I want to stay with this person. I need to accept who they are. And if you knew at the beginning, this was not somebody who was right for me, and I don't want to stay in something that I'm unhappy with, then you'll
Right.
change it. But it's always up to you. Nobody can make you do anything. And it's never going to make a relationship bad. And it's
Right.
never going to make a relationship worse, because this foundational relationship right here is being taken care of. And when you take care of yourself, everything around you starts to get better, because you're like, oh, maybe I have a friend over here who has never been interested in my life and takes from me all the time. I don't need to give them everything I have right now. Maybe I need better boundaries right here. And people start treating you differently. So even sometimes those kinds of people, and obviously you can't divorce your family, really. It's not, and,
You
but
can't.
well, you could try, but
You try.
yes, in some extreme cases, that's very important. But
Yeah.
in other cases, it's really about your boundaries get so much better that
Yeah.
people just unconsciously start treating you differently than they used to. So, and when that happens, and when you walk in the room and you're walking differently and you're speaking differently and your eyes light up in a different way, people are like, oh, who's this? Oh, you're fun, wow, you're not going off into complaining about things in your life. You might say, yeah, there's something that's a real challenge right now that I'm working through, and I'm looking forward to that changing. And this is what I'm doing. Or can you give me some advice? You know what I mean? Like, you ask for the things you want,
Yes.
and from usually from the right people. And if you hit someone who isn't, it's not a big deal. You kind of, things roll off your shoulders and roll off your back. You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe that was, and you make mistakes, but you learn from them and you understand that's okay, instead of going into places that you can't, you trap yourself, right? So you just get
Absolutely.
lighter, your life gets lighter and easier. And that's never bad.
Yeah, that is an awesome place to be where things get easier without you having to like fight for it all the time.
Yes.
It's more,
Yeah.
it starts just happening, and it's because of the changes in you, and it creates changes all around you. And that's such a key part of why do you want to do your own healing? And you've started on the theta healing, and what in
Yeah.
the world is theta healing for those who don't know?
So theta healing is a process. It's like it's a technique, a meditational technique, that where you connect to your inner wisdom and your subconscious mind at the same time. Some people call that inner wisdom like a divine energy. It's the most loving energy that's inside of you that really can guide you where you want to go, and more clearly as you let go of your baggage, right? Because when your baggage is in the way, think of it like you're literally carrying grocery bags, and you've got 2 or 3 in your hands, and you're trying to walk forward, and you can't unlock the door to get out, and someone, you know what I mean? You can't kind of see everything that's around you. And once you start putting these down with this work, you're like, oh, I know what I need to do right here. Here goes this, and then I can take that.
Mm,
You things just come to you, an insight. So anyways, let me come back into my story here. So it's this technique that allows you to take this beautiful, loving energy. Some people call that source, God, universe, or your inner wisdom, and marry that with your subconscious mind. So in there, we know, is the repository of everything that's happened to you and all the reactions you've had to it. So we've got your thoughts. The ones that are riding you into the rails are the I'm nothing, I'm worthless, I'm unlovable, right?
yes.
And it goes on, right? Everybody else gets to be successful except for me, right? Those things that kind of hit you in the gut, those are bottom beliefs. And with your permission, we can change those energetically, because when the theta in theta healing is that theta brainwave that gets you into your subconscious. We know that through hypnotherapy. This is a real thing that's happening to you. And then inside your subconscious mind are all those trapped emotions,
Yeah.
right? We've got trauma in there, big time, anger, big time, betrayals. We've all had those things happen to us, and everything else under the sun. And as you're able, with your permission, because the theta brainwave tells your mind, has your mind tell your body what to do, you can actually release these emotions from your body and replace it with that divine energy, that unconditional love, understanding, and compassion. And that is taking out the spinach and bringing in the ice cream. Let's have all the good stuff in there. And when that happens, you start making decisions in support of yourself, because you feel so much better. right? And you're not in like, I'm going to mess this one up. Let's see how I do that, and having that expectation of failure. And so your dynamics in your relationships change, like that we were talking about. And your boundaries, so your boundaries get better. And those, how do I say this? It's like those invisible barriers. When you need to do something and you just don't do it. Right?
Yeah.
I got to clean out my car. And every time I get in it, I feel so gross. Right?
Yep. But I don't want to do it yet.
I can't do it. I can't get myself to do it. And even though I go in my car 4 times a day, I can't do it. And so that barrier, or I know I need to be doing something else with my life, I know I need to be working on this aspect of my business, is that comes down. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I bet if I start calling my clients and finding out how they are, they'll, and just go to the people that I feel like I'm really genuinely, like they genuinely came up and I got a hit. It's be good to connect with them and find out how they're doing. How many times have you ever had that happen where you do that and someone goes, oh my God, I was thinking about you,
Yeah.
and I would love to have an appointment with you. Or you go, wow, you know what? It's been a while since I've done something lovely for my whole community. I'm going to create something for them and I'm going to have whatever. And you just start getting better decisions and the right people start coming in at the right time. And we go into this really incredible time. I'll give you a fun example. This woman who had not spoken to her father in a year. They had some, her father was a pretty troubled guy and was not really concerned about her well-being at all. And was just very wrapped up, very, very wrapped up. And so she was like, fine, I'm not talking to him. And she came to me and it had been a year.
Mm.
And we did a lot of work just around forgiveness. And in this line of work, forgiveness is about letting go of the pain someone's caused you or that you've caused yourself. It's not about saying it's okay that he hurt me, or I've got to keep this forever, because I don't know how to let go of it. Right.
I'm glad you
And
clarified that because
yeah,
a lot of people think forgiveness is letting go of whatever they did, and that's not right.
no, it's never about that. And I said, and so I said, are you ready to let go? And this is the question you can ask even without theta healing. Are you ready to let go of the pain that somebody caused you or that you caused yourself? And then you go, oh, yeah, I don't want to hold on to this. Right. And so, but when you do it in theta, you're going down to that deep subconscious, really deep level of really getting this stuff out from the basement. Right. And so she forgave him. And I said, I'm just going to say this, but he's going to notice there's quite a possibility he's going to call you because he's going to notice there's a difference in the force. That's the best way I can put it. He called the next day. He
Wow.
called her the next day.
Wow.
And it was the beginning of something different with him. And that was like one of those moments where you're like, jaw dropping, really big shift in your universe. And because to let go of that meant that you understood that it wasn't your fault either, that you could let yourself off the hook. And I don't know about you, but and a lot of the people that I work with are people who take care of their kids and they take care of their aging parents. And so they're in that
Yep.
sandwich generation, and their needs aren't always put first. And so when you put your need first and you also feel like you're responsible for everyone and everything.
Yeah.
Right. And so, right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Been there.
Right. Right. We've all had that. And as parents, especially, you feel like,
Yes.
because at the beginning you really are.
Oh, yeah.
And then, but when you have to deal with these other sides too, it's like finding time for yourself is very tough. And so coming into that space of really going, oh, I can let go of this because it wasn't about me. It was about him being in his past and taking that out on me and acting that out on me. But you really not only understand it intellectually, which most adults tend to understand their parents when their parents really harmed them, that they were really messed up, right? Something was
Yeah.
going on with them, but they
Yeah.
can't let go of it because it's so deeply ingrained and embedded that they can't go anywhere. And you really in order to get that out, you need something like theta healing that gets and addresses your subconscious level and has that love and support to replace it with. And because, or else you're just painting a dirty wall. You can't, you'll get some of it and it'll look
Yeah.
good for a while, but then that paint's going to start to peel and you're going to see that same stuff underneath.
And you brought up a really good point, how a lot of times the parents are in a space where they can't make that change.
Yeah.
But then as people who are making changes, like there's you and so many others people that are listening, they're making changes in their life. They're going, but I'm making the changes, so I don't do it to my own family. And I'm doing it out of love and unconditional love to my children. Why didn't they have enough love for me to
Mm-hmm.
make those changes for me? So you could see where it's a lot of times they can't even experience, they can't give the love they can't feel themselves.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's hard as a child or as someone who's experienced that to understand they weren't capable of doing it. And when
Right.
they feel that shift in you, I love how you said that, she was doing all that work and then all of a sudden her dad called her the next day because on that soul level, on that energetic level, on that God level, whatever source level, whatever you want to call it, they feel you, they know the shift has been done, and then they end up changing themselves too.
Right. Yeah. They sense there's something different and they don't know why they're calling. They don't know
Yeah.
why they're doing this, but the thought popped in their head and they go for it. And there's a new opening. Yeah.
And it's amazing. And that's a lot of what, I mean, you're working on that energetic level. You're working on that theta healing level and that brainwave level that makes such a difference because a lot of us can't even comprehend the whole relationship here on the
Right.
human level. But on that subconscious is where you can comprehend it. You can make a lot of those changes, which in turn makes such a huge difference in your life and all the people around you. I mean, the change, like you and I had talked earlier, it's the changes in here in the world we live
Mm-hmm.
in and how it's affecting the people around us. What a difference.
Yeah. And we need that combination of the right energy and the right actions. I was just learning about 80-20 rule. It was different than I had learned a different 80-20 rule, but this
Oh,
80-20 rule was talking about in terms of being able to bring things into your life and manifest things into your life, that it's 80% energy and 20% action.
mm,
And I think that's so interesting that
yeah.
it's almost like judo. If you they say you really don't have to, you have to use the momentum of the person coming towards you and just a little bit of a flip this way and they're going to go that way, right? You're using all the energy that's there and just a little action and you're going to have a great result. And I think it's the same thing, and it has to come from you. And I understand, and especially now because we're in this time of such great change, and what
Yes.
is being highlighted is insensitivity, intolerance. Not that, and there's so much love going, and there's so many people who are reacting in a really positive way and helping people, and 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 the attention is on the negative because it's so
Yeah.
much negative, and it really causes, like you were talking about, this deep insecurity and that anxiety of what's going to happen next. And so having something where you can ground yourself and come back and get out of that group thought too, because there's, like, I have a process just to get the energy of the collective out of your system. Because I don't know if you have that, where sometimes you'll wake up in the morning and you'll be like, but you're like, no, my life is fine. Well,
Yeah.
what's that? And it's that collective insecurity that is so big right now. And because we have social media, and obviously we've had this for a while, but that created a new level of collective power that I think is unique in the last, I would say, what, 15 years or so.
Yeah, I agree because it's
Yeah.
been it's filled with fear, it's filled with
Yes.
anger, it's filled with like I said, sometimes you wake up and just go, ah, you like, ooh, you just feel angry or just like or very down or very depressed for
Yes.
no reason.
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
what is going on? And you
Yeah.
realize it is coming from the collective, it is coming from that,
Yeah.
but it's coming. My team is just niggling at me. They're saying, it's coming to the people who are able to switch, to flip that switch and to
Yeah.
create, change the energy
Yeah.
that's there, to change it from that more negative energy to a more positive, loving, enlightening energy.
Yeah.
And that's why so many of you have been tapping into that because you're the ones that can change it. And it's people like you that are helping
Mm.
people learn how to change that energy, and that's so important.
Right. Right. It's absolutely, it's wonderful. You're reminding me of another story. There's a woman I work with, and once again, mom, and single mom, and so she's just spent so much of her time, on her child, and her child's
Mm.
out in the world now, God bless, and doing really well. And she's finally in this spot of like really taking care of herself
Mm.
and really, really taking care of herself and meditating and doing this work and just going, at working on her social life. I lost the word for social life apparently for a second. I was looking at it, I'm like, I see her, I see her. And just really taking care of herself. And she had a health challenge and that came up, and anyways, she was doing all this stuff, and she had this test, and it was she had been testing positive for a certain kind of cancer, and she took this test that was supposed to let her see what's the possibility that this thing could metastasize, just so that they could have a strategy and all this sort of stuff. And 1 to 10, 10 being the one that, more likely, right? She got an
Right.
18 on this test. And so she came
Wow.
back and went, I got an 18 on this test. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
So, and they're going to retest her in a couple of weeks to check to see what's the strategy from there. Like, okay, so here we are. If that means there's a high likelihood, then we're going to right? We're going to do this and that and that and this. And so during this time in between this test, and she was, understandably very scared. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, get it. We're not saying don't be scared. We're going to acknowledge, accept, and allow that this is going on for you. And
Mm.
also get into deep meditation and deep theta. And in these couple of weeks that she was doing this at a whole new level of me and meditation, right? And one of the things I love about this work is it's complementary and supportive of all other things. Go to your doctor. We always say, do everything you can. If something's going on with you, do everything. This isn't,
Yes.
about my ways or the highway, do everything. All right. Do
Exactly.
everything, do everything, do everything.
Yes.
So during this time, me and meditation, basically, theta and meditation, she went back and took the test again. She got a 0.8 on it.
Wow.
Went down to
What
a
a,
0.8, which was a totally different strategy. And her oncologist was somebody who's like the top of field, and was like so shocked at where that went. Like was thinking, we're going to be in that range still, and we'll just go from there. And since then, same thing. All the results are low. All the results are live your life, and we're going to check in and live your life, and check in and live your life, and check in.
love it.
And she's doing really, really well. And so it's amazing how that focus on yourself, and like we said, that self-love of really bringing it in, eating the right foods, doing really fun things, really getting in there at the subconscious level, really getting in there in meditation, getting into those deep states, how much they can transform your body when you're doing that. And once again, still get everybody else to help you out. You always want it.
I love that. And I love the fact too, like you said, this isn't about doing one thing or the other, but doing
No,
all the things, bringing everything in that you have.
absolutely.
And I love the fact too that because she was going to the regular doctor and doing what she needed to do, you have those
Yeah.
tests, you have those baselines so you can see the progress you're making. Because honestly, a lot of times we do all this work and we're like, but we have nothing like I feel better. I think I'm a different person, but you don't have a baseline to look at. Where
Right.
she has a baseline to
It literally
see,
has a baseline.
look at what I've accomplished. Look at what I've done
Mm-hmm.
by paying attention to me. And that's so
Mm-hmm.
important. Like you had talked about earlier with the sandwich generation. I
Yeah.
was there. I mean, I was taking care of aging parents. I had the kids. My aging parents have all passed now,
Mm-hmm.
my kids are growing now, but I was in the middle of that and it was like you don't even feel you have time to breathe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're literally just
Yeah.
living for everyone else in the moment. And
Yeah.
there's so many people in those situations, especially now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
this is so helpful for them to have those moments because when you are working with her and when you're working with the theta healing, what does that session look like? How long does that session go on so people kind of get an idea of what they're working with? And I know you also do other things online, so maybe
Yeah.
fill
Yeah.
people in on that.
So, I will say that when I work one-on-one, I usually work for either a 30-minute session or an hour session.
Yeah.
And then I work with groups. And because a group situation has a different kind of power to it, right? You have the community with
Yes.
you and you're holding the intention with the community. And those are really, I teach classes that are like monthly classes where once a week for an hour we'll work on a topic, and
Oh,
where we're going to talk about the future self. And I do a lot of work around future self and different topics, like your relationship with money, your relationship, once again, your relationship with yourself, love, success, abundance, all these different sorts of health. um, and it's really, really fun to get into that and to go down on that really deep level of with a community of wonderful people, and you really hold the space for each other. And then if you do it individually, we really hone specifically on what is going on with you this Tuesday, like, and that has a different feel to it. So
yeah.
everybody, and people come for projects, like, I just want this thing to get better. Or they're coming like like they could go to their therapist, and I want to come every week, I want to come every other week, I want to come once a
Right.
month, whatever it is. And but I want that regular time with you because life happens and I want to move forward no matter what happens, but I want it to be in a healthy way instead of like so veering so far off this way that I don't know where I'm at and I'm lost. So, and when you're lost, it's okay to be lost. We just, this kind of work helps bring you back.
Find yourself once again. And
Mm-hmm.
you talked about the future self and money, and I know these are huge topics. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, a lot of people say, well, how can I even think about the future unless I look at how can I afford to get there?
Yeah,
How can
right.
I get there? We live in a world where everything revolves around money.
Yeah.
And you talked to yourself about that ceiling that you had for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
that invisible but very palpable
Yeah.
level that you had, a ceiling. And I've got to say, I've had the same feeling and realizing like I didn't even realize I had a ceiling and then realizing
Yeah.
it was there. How do you work with people with the money and getting that relationship with money back where it needs to be?
Well, one of the best things that you can do for your relationship with money, and this is something you can do by yourself, is to start treating money like a cherished friend, like your best friend.
Mhm.
How do
Yes.
you, if you think about wherever your relationship is with money, you can look and like, how honest, am I communicating with it? Am I avoiding it? Am I spending so much of it that I just don't want to know about whatever the details are? Or am I holding onto it so tightly that it like dissolves in my hands and there's never enough of it? And so when you look at it like, okay, how do I treat my best friend? I call my best friend. I find out how they're doing. I let them
Yeah.
know how I'm doing. you know I want to support them through anything when they're having challenges. I want to figure out what's going on and I want to be able to help them along the way. And so you can translate those into visiting your bank accounts, working on your business, trying to find some new ideas to bring in more clients. You can you can go into all these different directions, understanding how much you spend and how much you have, and making decisions based on that instead of our credit card society of really going for it. And now, because interest rates are like, what we used to call it, who are the guys that loan sharks,
Oh,
now the kind you have 30% interest. This is at loan shark levels,
Yes.
right? And so you could be in and not that far in, and it's hard to get out. And so, and it puts you into another space, right? And
Yes.
so, but you can figure out when that relationship starts, you start releasing and healing the traumas that you had as a child, right? And then move from there into, so you're not coming from that traumatized space. And then you go, oh, I can make these other decisions, because you may believe, and you changing these beliefs, right? Money comes in one hand and goes out the other, right? It's the root of all evil. I know that one. Everyone says that one.
Yeah. Doesn't
You
grow on
might
trees.
think, right, it doesn't grow on trees, or just that, that wealthy people have no soul, right?
Oh,
And the
that's another
wealthiest
good
people
one.
have no soul. And right now we're seeing people in the collective right now who are really wealthy people who I can't say literally, who appear to have no compassion, to have zero compassion and only selfishness. And we're seeing that, and greed. And we see how they're wreaking havoc on people who really need, who working class and middle class, and
Yeah.
and it's really, really tough to watch. So when you have some examples like that, and you're like, then all of a sudden anybody who's wealthy is not a nice person, and you're associating everybody who has that who has a nice car, like, oh well, you know I don't need, there, like you start resenting people who have more money than you. There's jealousy. There's all
Jealousy.
these things, right? Where, and so you've got to heal all those old resentments, and look at, no, if wealth is a blessing, the way you deal with your wealth will determine if it's a blessing for yourself and for other people, and how you want to live your life. If somebody is at a place of being, let's say, a billionaire or a millionaire many times over, they could be the most philanthropic, world changing, affecting people if they decide to. That has to do with this in here, not the
Right.
wallet, right? The wallet can expand and exacerbate your selfishness or your compassion.
Absolutely.
And so if you allow yourself to receive more, and this is the thing with the people who are giving to everybody else, it's very difficult for them to receive, right? When it come back to
Yes.
the people who come to me, is, so when you let them understand that it's okay to receive, because receiving's at the bottom of it. Talk to anyone who deals with money issues and abundance issues. They'll tell you receiving, and you want to say, no, it's just the way I balance my checkbook. No, or no, it's just the way I do this other thing. No, it's
Yeah.
receiving. That's the energy. That's the 80%, right? And so when you start being able to receive more help and see where the support is around you, even the little things, I always say, just getting that parking spot right in front of Trader Joe's, like any little thing, and you celebrate it and you bring that gratitude in there. These are things that you can do on your own, but healing all those traumas, healing all those things that went south, healing places where you've made financial mistakes, and you had financial failures, and really understand that failure is just a mistake, right? And it's an opportunity to learn something, and it wasn't meant for you to stay in the rest of your life. It's like when you have two grown children, right? When
Yes.
they first started learning how to walk, and they fell and they really blammoed, right? And you're
Yes.
like,
Lots of
oh,
band-aids.
they didn't stay there. You didn't let them stay there. And like,
Right.
oh my God, he's 33. He's still on the rug. We haven't been able to get him off the rug. You think, right? It's that ridiculous. And that's what
Yes.
we do to ourselves. We become our own worst enemy. And we're like, you failed there. You failed there. You failed there. You're
Yeah.
never going to pass that. And they're like, oh. And so we've got to get out of being our own worst enemy. And that inner bully. I do a lot of, I call inner critic and inner bully work to help people break through that. You have to be able to support yourself from the inside out and become that ally. And that's what I help people with.
That's really important. And my team is just saying we were talking about the words we put on things, looking at Rich doing this and
Mm-hmm.
are we going to be compassionate as, if you're compassionate now, you're going to be compassionate whether you have $10 million or
Yeah.
$10. You're going to be
Right.
compassionate. It doesn't matter.
Right.
The money doesn't change you in that way. What's inside is what's inside. And the other thing my team is just saying is when we talked about labeling and different things, they're just saying you do realize that every time people do your taxes every year, you're looking what class are you in? Are you in middle class, low class, high class? You're there are there are words that are put upon us like classes and even classes of money and looking at how many people can get out of those classes. So there's a lot of words that we need to lose our beliefs over as we go
Yeah.
forward. And
You got
you're
to be able.
helping people lose beliefs over what class am I in? What class am I in? And
Right.
and looking at that and going, that's only a class somebody else made up, not a class here.
Absolutely. And when we feel, held in by these things, I had a guy, I love this story because I love him so much. And it was just such a wonderful thing that happened for him, who designed, kitchens and bathrooms and redid people's homes. And he had been in a slump for 6 months, and he got like to the penultimate, which is my favorite word, by the way, the
No.
penultimate, the second to last bid, right? And somebody else would get it, right? And so he's like, and that happened for 6 months, and he supported his family, and it was really, really getting very stressful. And so he came to me, and we started figuring out, well, what does that remind you of in your past, and really getting down to what the root causes were there, what was, hanging on in his basement, that, and how was he laying on the floor still in this space. And so we shifted that, and 2 weeks later, he won his first bid, and he was really good at what he did. He was doing well before that. And then this thing, right? Some
Right.
cloud came over him, and it just
Yeah.
rested. And, and so this woman loved his work so much that she told all her friends, he's a great guy. He's honest. He does phenomenal work. Get him. And within a few weeks, he had a 6-month waiting list, and he just took off from
Wow.
there. And so things can happen either gradually over time with people, depending on where they're at with all of this stuff, or they can be subconsciously ready at a whole new level, and they just go boom, and they go and take off. And that's what's so wonderful about this work, that you have the options to do both,
And that's so key because a lot of times you're humming along, everything's going great, and all of a sudden it's not, and you don't know
Yeah,
why.
you don't know
And
why.
it's just you're at a point where you got through a lot of things, but all of a sudden
Right.
there's one that's a little deeper. And
Yeah.
there's, my team is saying there's no shame in asking for help. There's no
Right.
shame in reaching out to say, I don't know what's going on. Can you help me with it? And for
Hmm.
you to help release that block and see, as soon as that's released, he's off and running again. It can be quick and easy. It doesn't have to take years to get through
Hmm.
and moving through that inner critic. And that's the other thing when we talk about it doesn't need to take years to move through some of this.
Exactly. Exactly. It doesn't need to take, it doesn't need, no, it can happen quickly, it can happen gradually. And
And then
you're at the helm of that.
yeah, you're in charge of it. And
Yeah.
you've been working now with your future self and things
Mhm.
in the future. Was that kind of a natural evolution as you've been going through it? And how has that shifted what you're doing now?
Well, I started discovering it when I started doing a lot of inner critic work with
Mm,
people. And I started noticing that they were saying, oh, well, when you embody, you bring your future self in, future self this, that, and really big people talk about that, or they talk about changing your state, right? Tony Robbins talks
yes,
about that. Joe Dispenza talks about it. Like really big people who are out there making a big change. Talk about your future self, talk about changing your state.
yes.
And when you go into there's a great quote that gets misquoted, and I might be misquoting it, so I'll say I'm paraphrasing
Got it.
from from Einstein, that says that you can't solve a problem with the same consciousness that created it, right?
True.
And right,
Yes.
and so you've got to, when you bring in the energy of your future self who's already been through what you have gone through and is already on the other side of it, then you're bringing that energy. That's the bridge from where you are to where you want to be. Excuse me. All of a sudden I think the energy is coming up.
Energy's moving.
Yeah, it's really moving. Excuse me. That's the energy. So yeah, it's a big deal to bring that energy. And when you bring it down to that subconscious level and really go in there and go, okay, let's say you're having, issues with your relationships and you want to have a relationship, and you go into that space of already having your person. And
Yes.
really, one of the things I do with that is I'll tell people what a fun exercise to do is to imagine that you're holding your hands and you're facing your person, and you're just looking into each other's eyes and you're really going, and then you're walking on the beach, and you feel all
Love it.
those sorts of feelings of, instead of I'm alone, this is, when will everybody else gets to couple up and I never do. And my friend who already broke up has somebody else. And why don't I,
Yes.
and going into that, which is right, you're on the ground, you've
Yes.
never gotten up, and we want to get you up, and it's okay to feel those feelings, and it's okay once again to acknowledge, accept, and allow those feelings. And it's also important for you to go into this next place. And so in this class that I've just been teaching, one of the gentlemen, actually there was a class before, but he came to play with us more, where he had been he lost his wife some time ago, and he wanted another relationship, and that was what his intention was in the class. And he met somebody, and he's in the midst of a really lovely relationship with a lovely woman. And so you're like, yeah, like that's cool. And so you see those sorts of things. I had a funny one where one time I was taking a future self walk, and I came in and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna take this into my little office, my little home office. So I walked in my office, and a few minutes earlier than that, I'd gotten, basically in like 10 minutes or 15 or 20 minutes, 3 people called and canceled appointments. And so I thought,
Wow.
so in those days you could be like, oh, man, you're just like, damn, whatever. All right, I'm fine. I'll go do my other work. Right. I just went in as my future self when I went, oh, what would I do if this was already done? I already had these clients back. And it went, I go here, I go here, I go here. And in 15 minutes, I had 3 people back in my
Wow.
lineup for the day. For the day. It was the easiest thing I've ever done. And so when you really bring that energy in and play with it, it can be a game. That's what it's saying. There's nothing's going to happen to you if you bring it in. You're just going to feel better. You're just bringing a version of yourself in that has a better vibration, a higher vibration than you do. And as like energy attracts like energy, or water seeks its own level, right? If your water's up to here and it's a good thing, you're going to bring something in that's going to be really beautiful. You're going to bring this beautiful wave in that you can ride all the way to the shore. And so it's real important to go into that aspect of work, and you can do it on your own, and you can do it very, very deeply inside of Theta. So I've just found that it's helped me a tremendous amount in my life.
Well, it's huge because, so many times we get in a space where, you know, we get that depressionary
Yeah.
anxiety. You can't see your way out of it. And you're like, I
Yeah.
can't get there. I can't even feel it right now.
Right.
But you're taking them to say, okay, there is a version of yourself out there. You have
Yeah.
moved through it. Bring that in. And it brings, I just feel hope, hope, hope,
Hope,
bringing
hope,
hope
hope.
back in.
Hope, hope, hope. Yeah.
And
And that's
that's so key.
cumulative. Yeah. I'm sorry that I interrupted you. It's cumulative. So the more theta you do, the more you change these beliefs and transform these feelings into empowering ones, the better you're going to feel. It's more cumulative. The more you bring in that energy of the future self. I'll give you another example of a future self that happened to me. And I know I'm talking about myself a lot, right?
No,
These are just really,
it's
yeah,
great to hear. I think this is really good for people to hear because, we all go through this. We are
yeah.
all, and
No
you're
one's
working
immune.
with people who are going through all of this. So
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. It's no one's immune. When I really started diving in, which was last year, like in just about the beginning of the winter time or fall winter time, and really diving in and getting into these meditations and future self meditations and all this sort of stuff. And then the beginning of the year started, and I live in Los Angeles, and the fires hit. And so, and understand that this was something, and within 3 days, we almost had to evacuate twice in 3 days.
Wow.
So I went from driving to my office and seeing smoke from 15 miles away and thinking, oh, there's a fire way over there. I wonder where it is.
Yeah.
I was at Trader Joe's in the parking lot, and I saw this big plume. I'm like, that looks like a spaceship. It was so big,
Wow.
and I'm like, wow, what's going on? And by the end of the day, we had to pack up in my
Wow.
house. So it went from, and I live 45 minutes away from my work,
Wow.
so it wasn't even, it was like, what? I thought I was removed and this thing was going to be dealt with completely separate from my life. And so that's how fast it came.
Wow.
And because of all that work that I had done, I was able to come home, and as everything started ratcheting up and the stress, I'm like, oh God, what is going on? I was able to go, okay, oh, we got to get ready. Like, I just got this big messy house, right? You're just like looking at your house, like, what am I doing, right? And so I had always wanted, and was putting off for, I could say, at least 4 or 5 years, at least 4 years, getting a real list together of everything that I need just in case, because we've had fires that weren't this close, but were threatening. And I knew that was something I needed. And being in California, an earthquake, you want to have your stuff
Yeah,
together, right?
absolutely.
And I'd never done it. I couldn't get myself to do it. And I went, oh, today's the day. And I went online. I was able to find out I had known some of them. And then I just gathered everything together in one area, so now I had all my papers all together. That had never happened before. And they were at the front door. And then I could go, okay, I want pictures. I want this. I want that. And then we were ready to go. And then, it wasn't until late at night we realized we're going to be okay. We don't have to go. And then the same thing happened 2 days
Wow.
later, but we were ready. And then the same thing, late at night, we realized we don't have to go. But we stayed with our suitcases for at least 2 weeks. We were living in our suitcases in our living room. Like,
Wow.
whatever happens, we could just take it and go. And you have to be ready to let go. You have to let go. Oh, I could come back and nothing's here.
Yeah.
I could come back and nothing is here. Okay, well, and what that future self energy did for me was going, I'm taking the most precious things with me. I'm taking my family with me. I'm taking my cat with me. I'm making sure my other family is okay. I'm taking out the most important papers, and I'm going to lose stuff. And it's going to hurt. But if it were the other way around, and I said, oh, my house is saved, but I lost my family.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I'd trade it in a minute. And so I was like, okay, it just helped me let go of what could possibly happen and go, the most important things are happening here. And that's okay. And that's what really got me, because I've never been in that situation in my whole life, even with going through, and we don't have a lot of earthquakes. I know Los Angeles sounds like, oh my God, we have them all the time. They talk about California because California's big.
Right.
There's
It's
one
very
way
big.
up here and one way down here, right? So in the middle, and so it's not always, and in LA, it's most of the time it's like a truck going by. So you feel like this
Right.
thing, and then you're like, oh, it's done. Except every 20 or 30 years, And
Right.
but this, I'd never, ever had to confront that. And just being at the, and feeling very grateful and lucky that I didn't experience that other thing. And,
Yes.
but it's a big deal, to be able to function through that, because my normal nervous system, because I'm such a sensitive pup, could have been like, and oh my God, I forgot this, and who wouldn't,
Well,
but I
exactly.
was like,
Exactly.
okay, I need to make a list. Now I need to take those things and put them in a box. Now I need to go and get these other things. What are the other things? And I could get myself on a track when the whole world is going nuts,
Yeah.
and there's smoke, and it's bad, man. There was smoke everywhere, and not inside my house, but I could smell it outside.
Oh, yeah.
So, because one of the fires ended up being a half a mile away, and
Wow.
so,
Really
and it was
close.
taken care of, thank God.
Wow.
So I've never experienced being that close, and hopefully I'll never have to experience it again. Hopefully, I don't wish that on anybody, and I don't wish,
Right.
and my heart goes out to everyone who have had very much more intense experiences than I did. But this kind of work helps you with that, because if you can connect to that energy, like it's going to be okay, even had something bigger happened,
Yes.
you can go, if I connect to that energy that's already either rebuilt or moved or come back or all of those things, then you have that energy to lean on, that courage to lean on, that faith to lean on, that hope to lean on, and
Yes.
compassion for yourself, and giving yourself that space. And then you have all those things, you're using that energy and those qualities that you want it to shine inside of you. You're leaning on those to get you through. Those are the ones that are going to get you through anything. We can't help if somebody starts a fire way out there, and the wind picks it up and brings it closer to your house. That's not on me. You know, it's, but I've got to be able to deal with it. And I've got to be
Right.
able to get safe and thrive again. And even in this, this situation that we're in with our government, and the way it's acting towards certain people, and going, okay, well, given that, I've still, and this is what I talk about with everybody, our goals are still the same.
Yes.
We still deserve to thrive. We still
Yes.
deserve to get our heads out of the chaos and create that thing, that track that goes, okay, this is what I need to do so that I can still have a fulfilling life. You still deserve all of that stuff. And so you've got to get down, because especially in times like these, you're going to get triggered. We're
Yeah.
all going to get triggered. There isn't somebody out there who's not going to get, maybe a like a fireman or a
Right.
firewoman, like whatever. Those people get, they're in that trauma all the time. So they have a lot more practice than us other folks who don't deal with it every day. So, but we all deserve to thrive. We all
Yes.
deserve to find that space, and speak to ourselves, become our ally, our inner ally, and really, and move our lives and bring ourselves forward, and go, there's an economic depression, or there's, or these other things that are happening. I can still thrive. And when I thrive, I can help everybody else that I want. So let's put all of our resources behind that. How about that? How about love yourself? And I know it sounds funny, give yourself a hug, right? You
Oh,
go, and because loving yourself is going to be having a better relationship with money. Loving yourself is start looking at your life from that space of, I've learned so many wonderful things. I've had so many intense things happen, and look, I've come through all of them,
yes.
and I am here and alive. That is remarkable. Instead of,
And you're
yeah, but
thriving.
right. And you're shining, and you have places in
Yes.
your life you're so proud of. Focus in on those. And because whatever you focus in on, right, it just shows up in your life more and more and more. And that is incredible. That is what's going to get you to wherever you want to go next. And however quickly you get there, as long as you're on that path getting there and things are getting better and better, even if you have a few steps backwards, you can go, dust myself off, right? I can go, okay, I forgive myself for that. Whatever that was, it's okay. I can learn the most loving lesson. That's what I love about this work. I can learn the most loving lesson about a crappy thing that happened to me, right? And understand, how was that for me at the deepest level? How, what's the most beautiful, loving lesson I can learn from that thing that happened, so that I can move forward and go, yay, I know I learned this. I learned to be, my intuition is off the charts now because of what happened. And I help other people, and I developed a whole other charity or a whole other business because I realized I had been in that for so long, and that muck, and I got out. So, and I want to help other people who are in that muck, you know?
And that's so important for people to realize you're learning the tools to help you get through it energetically,
Yes.
easier, quicker,
Yeah.
and to have the focus. That's the biggest thing. When you're not stuck in all the chaos,
Right.
you have the ability to sit back, to focus, like with you having to evacuate, like, what do I need? What do I have to get together? Versus somebody going, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, and they just fall apart and they can't
Yeah.
focus on what the next
Yeah.
step is because
Yeah.
they
We
feel
need,
there isn't one, that they can't
right.
get there.
Right. Because they're panicked. It's just panic.
Yeah,
It's a very
fear,
human place to be. Panic is very human.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know you had talked about looking at doing a group healing with all this, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fear, a lot of things going on in the world, and we are here to thrive. We are here to thrive and to just continue to grow and be amazing here. Have an amazing life, have a great life, regardless of what's going on in the outside
Yes.
world.
Yes.
And that's
Absolutely.
key. So if you want to do a group healing with whatever
Sure.
you choose for the next five,
Sure.
10 minutes, up to you. It's off on
All
you.
right. All right. Here we go. Okay. So cracking my knuckles. Um, So the way a session is conducted is that I close my eyes and go into the process of going into the theta brainwave. And then I'm going to ask you if I can come into your space. You'll be our proxy and you'll say yes out loud. Nothing can happen to anyone without their permission. So there's nothing I can do to you. And really what I'm doing is helping you connect to your own inner wisdom. And you're allowing that inner wisdom to provide you with the feelings and the perspectives that are going to come up and help you change these belief systems that are coming. Okay. So I will say,
Absolutely.
oh, we're picking up this belief. Would you like to, change that belief? And if you say yes, or you want like the universe or source to change that belief or your inner wisdom, when you say yes, you might feel your eyes rolling back in your head because when we go into theta, that's the dream state. That's when our eyes roll back in our head and we just start nodding off. So my eyes may be closed. I might be able to open one or both. But I'm going to go up
And,
and then I'll ask you, or would you like the download of a feeling? Like what it feels like to be loved and appreciated. Things that
and
you
I,
may
I
not
do
remember.
I do
Yeah.
have to say, as we're starting this, I'm already feeling my team is coming in, and they just want everyone to know as we are doing this, I am taking the information, and this is being spread to everyone who is listening, everyone who is here, everyone who will be listening in the future too. They will be receiving this healing from you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cool. That's great. And then I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, and maybe also, would you like to heal the resentment you feel towards this or that, or the jealousy you feel towards this or that? And when
Yeah.
you say yes to that, and you could say, you may be really relaxed, but as long as it can be quietly in your head, you don't have to say yes out loud. Um, then it will be replaced with unconditional love and understanding and compassion. So that's what's so cool about it.
Okay.
So, okay. So can I come into your space? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. All righty. And then let's start with some basic, beautiful, powerful foundational work here. So, would you like to know what your inner wisdom's unconditional love feels like?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And just say yes. Now, you may feel something, you may not, and both are totally fine because I've asked for a feeling and some sort of kinesthetic um, sign or signal. And that just lets me know a lot of times I'm tingly, so I'll like scratch my head or I'll scratch something because like my skin tingles. And so, and would you like to know that it's safe for you to receive this unconditional love?
Yes.
And would you like to know how to and what it feels like to receive it?
Yes.
Okay, good job. This is a big one. Whee, I can feel that all the way down to the bottom of my body, all the way down to the first chakra, all the way through all of the chakras, the energy centers. Would you like to know what your inner wisdom's joy feels like?
Yes.
All right. Because we can forget what joy feels like. We can forget about making ourselves happy. So would you like to know that you're deserving of receiving this type of joy?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. And would you like to know how to and what it feels like to receive it?
Yes.
Cool. Beautiful. And understand also that this all comes in your own divine timing, so that even if I'm going quicker than you are, that beautiful energy will just wait for you. Be like, all right, wait, we're going to wait an hour and then joy's going to come. Like whatever it is, it's going to be wait for you. And remember, it's always coming from the inside, even though we can say that God source energy is on the outside, it's inside your body too. So it's like you're in this beautiful ocean, right, of energy. So
Love it.
yeah. So would you like to know, let's see what else is coming up. Oh, would you like to know what I'm going to use the word, the universe's support feels like? I'll just switch the words around a little bit.
Yes.
And would you like to know that you're deserving of receiving the universe's support?
Yes.
Would you like to know what it feels like to, what it feels like to receive this support?
Yes.
And then here's the kicker. Would you like to know how to recognize and what it feels like to recognize the universe's support?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Big and small.
Yes.
So that could be, like I said, somebody smiling as they walk past you, a cat leaning against your leg, getting a great parking spot, somebody saying hi from their car or letting you in, when you're making a left turn in traffic. And let's show you also how to celebrate the support when it happens and what that feels like to celebrate it, and getting that feeling of gratitude, like, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. And you can say it out loud, you can say it quietly, whatever you want,
Yes.
but go into that moment, gratitude, and show you what it feels like to be grateful for your life. Grateful. It feels like to be grateful for the people that you love.
Yes.
Who really contribute to your life in a positive way.
Yes.
And know that it's safe to feel grateful for them. And also know that it's safe to feel grateful for the people who you may have a more complicated relationship and you've yet to figure it out. That maybe there's a really beautiful lesson under there somewhere.
Yes.
That is yet to reveal itself. And that's
Yes.
okay, but that it's coming. More energy coming through my throat. Would you like to know what it feels like to be appreciated?
Yes.
From we'll say God's perspective, right? From the universe,
Yes.
from source's perspective.
Yes.
And what it feels like to know that what it feels like to know you're deserving of receiving this appreciation. Here we go.
Yes.
And how to and what it feels like to receive this appreciation from others.
Yes.
And this includes how to take a compliment. So let's have source show you how to and what it feels like to receive a compliment.
Yes.
And know and remember that when you receive a compliment, it's love. It's an energy of love. So if somebody says, wow, you look really nice today, instead of saying, or I love your shirt, instead of going, oh, it's old, right? Which is literally pushing that love away from you. So you're telling the universe, I don't want love. I don't want love. And so the universe goes, oh, noted. And so it starts holding it back. So when you say thank you, or even if it's, you're wearing the silliest hat ever and somebody goes, you look so good in that hat. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.
Love that.
Yeah, just receive it. Especially women have a very difficult time with taking compliments.
Yes.
Right. And then let's see what else is here. And let's show you what it feels like to become your inner ally
Yes.
and bring in that inner support.
Yes.
And that it's possible and safe to become your inner ally and really getting the universe's insight on what that's going to bring to you.
Yes.
And show you. And what I heard just now was joy, 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 joy. So let's show you how to, what it feels like to handle more joy in your life than you have right now.
Yes.
And allowing that tank to get bigger and deeper so that you can, that it can be filled with even more joy and more joy and more joy and more gratitude. It's okay if that mixes in there. Mixes well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
And show you what it feels like to trust your own intuition.
Yes.
There we go. And pull all the hooks, cords, and attachments you have to doubting it, and know that you can honor your ancestors without doubting your intuition.
Yes.
You can honor them by their intuition and your intuition come together and help you at a whole new level.
Yes.
And so, and there's something called vows, which are 24-hour, 7-day a week promises that we need to undo in a certain way, because usually you're doing it to right a wrong, or to create a balance somewhere or peace somewhere. And so there's vows here too. What is this? To never trust your intuition and to relinquish your power to others, and it may be to men, to authority figures, to women. That includes women and authority figures, to people who are more alpha than you are. How's that? So that could be government, politician, could be, someone, your boss, whatever.
Oh, yes.
Let's complete and finish all the vows to relinquish your power to them.
Yes.
And when we complete and finish that, that gives you your free will back to act as if however you want. And then also there's a lot of vows in here because you have so many healers and sensitive people who come into your community, that are in your community, people to save their families, save the world, heal themselves, heal their families, and save humanity. And so we're going to have God complete and finish these. And the reason we're doing that is so that you can choose to do that anytime you want. And also you can clock out when you go to sleep, because when you have vows in place, you are failing when you are not working on them. And that's a heavy energy. So if you want to save the world and heal the world and make it a better place, start after you've taken a shower in the morning, had some good breakfast, and you're ready to go. Not 3 in the morning when you can't do anything except feel really bad. Okay.
That is true.
Right. Okay, there we go. Beautiful. And just the burden of all of that collective anxiety that's out there and chaos, let's release that out of every cell of your body and send that to the universe. And that's what, with the theta brainwave, we can make that intention, right? The mind's talking to the body, getting those feelings out. We set the intention just to give that back to the universe, give that back to God, source, somebody who has bigger shoulders than you do.
Yes.
And just release that, any and all energy that never belonged to you in the first place. There we go.
Yes.
And also all that collective energy and all that collective suffering and struggle that's going on right now.
Yes.
Just release that, because you can help yourself and others with that if you let this go.
Yes.
And remember, and show you what God's compassion feels like.
Yes.
And that you're deserving of receiving it, and how to and what it feels like to receive the universe, God's source's compassion, inner wisdom's compassion.
Yes.
Because when you can have compassion for yourself, you can truly have compassion for other people.
Yes.
And also jealousy melts away.
Yes.
And so let's pull all the hooks, cords, and attachments to all those that you feel jealousy for, right? It's a human feeling. It's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. And show you how to, for those who are out there that you feel jealous, and it might be they make more money, their careers went better, they have a better relationship, they have a romantic relationship that's working, whatever it is, their health is perfect, whatever it is, and show you how to, what it feels like to use them as an inspiration instead of a source of pain and jealousy. Okay.
Yes.
What that feels like, that is possible too, because they're in your life for a reason. And it's not to make you feel lousy. It's to go, oh, I have enough energy. My frequency is high enough that somebody like that is in my circle already. And as I raise my vibration, that's one of my possibilities. I can bring that in. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So there you go. Beautiful. And then let's just show you what it feels like to have hope and faith in yourself from your inner wisdom's perspective.
Yes.
know that it's okay to believe that everything is going to be okay for
Ye-
so many reasons. And so there's
Yes.
a belief in here that if I have faith, it's blind faith, and that I'm gonna sabotage myself by believing something so naive, right? And so let's have your inner
Yes.
wisdom give you that most loving perspective on that, which is
Yeah.
really when you have faith that everything's going to be okay. There's also faith in your ability to ask for help, to take the actions, the next right steps, right? All of those
Yeah.
things instead of, and in this work, this is one of the things that I like about this work is that we're not saying go meditate in a cave and expect the whole world to change and your world to change. You're still in that cave. You got to get out of that cave and and go do the things and make the difference in the world. The energy helps the world, and then you can help it. And so,
Huge.
from wherever you're at, and really understanding, there was one wonderful healer that said something that I'll never forget. And she said that the universe doesn't save you, it works with you.
Love that.
Yeah.
So true.
So, how are you going to have the universe work with you? If you're
Yeah.
in a tough spot right now, if you feel stuck, you feel like other people are passing you by, you want more money than you have, you want more love than you have, how are you going to work with the universe? And let's give you that insight right now. How can you work with the universe and how work within yourself to make those changes start on the inside and then start showing up on the outside? And just
Yes.
bringing that insight for you. There we go. And I think we will complete here and also do the really fun thing of doing a body healing.
Nice.
There we go. So just feel that energy whoosh through every cell of your body. Replacing unhealthy cells with healthy cells. Every
Yes.
aspect and every part of your body.
Yes.
Your body, isn't your skin, the cells in your skin replaces every like 7 days, something like that?
I think so. It's amazing. And I think they said your cells in your body is it 6 weeks or 6 months,
Really?
something that
They
everything's,
all replace. Yeah.
yeah, they all
So
replace.
your body already has this innate ability to replace old with new. And so we'd like them to be new, healthy cells. So let's also show you what it feels like to be a completely healthy 28-year-old person with all those cells,
Hmm. Yes.
right? And also look at it like your future self who already has everything that you need. All your needs are met. Your health needs are met.
Yes.
Your financial needs are met. Feel
Yes.
it? Your relational needs are met.
Yes.
Your joyful needs are met.
Yes.
Your needs about safety and security are met.
Yes.
Just feel all of that. Yay. And let's let you know who you are from your inner wisdom's perspective or God's perspective with all of these changes that will continue to evolve as you change, as you evolve, right? And
Yeah,
you need to know who you
absolutely.
are and bring you back into yourself, really. And so think of it like that energy was here and it's coming back in your body, just bringing that grounding energy all the way through your body, all the way down the bottoms of your feet into the earth, so you get that really grounding earth energy. Bring that earth energy back up through your body, and understand this is also what Vienna talks about is when we go, as we say, we go up into the theta brainwave state, we're really expanding within the cell. And so when I say you're out of your body, you're not really out of your body. You're bringing that energy back into your body and grounding yourself, and so that you can now operate heavy machinery as you move forward.
Love
Yeah.
it. And I've got to say, when you were doing that, it was like I could feel, it's like I said, I'm being the proxy for everyone. I could
Mm-hmm.
feel that release worldwide. I could just feel
Hmm.
that on that collective level and feel so many people having those releases as that went through. So thank you so much for that because it's definitely a lighter feeling right now
Yeah.
than what it was
Hmm.
before.
Yeah.
This
Good.
is
Good.
on a large scale. So thank you for all you are doing,
Oh,
helping
thank.
so many people with this and changing. Like you said, we're all here to thrive, and you're helping
Hmm.
so many people to thrive and succeed and have that success they're looking for. And that's so important as we move forward.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. It's time. It's time. This is,
Yeah.
we only have now, and then we'll have another now, and we'll have another now, and we'll have another now. And this is a really, really crucial time for all of us to get centered and grounded and become more of ourselves than we've ever been and love and accept ourselves. And so that we really can create an inner and then an outer world that we really are proud of.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so many people have felt they couldn't get to it. They can't get to
Yeah.
the life they want. They don't know how. And this is a really a way for them, like you said, 80 the 80/20 rule. I love that 80/20 rule you were talking about, doing the
Hmm.
80/20 with energy, because that's
Hmm.
really what we're doing. We're shifting
Yes.
everything energetically and doing it in a way that my team is just showing me how when you were talking about the is it jitsu with the
Oh,
energy.
jujitsu. Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu, yeah.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
showing like seeing those energy waves move things forward. That's what all we're all doing. We're
Yeah.
all moving those energy waves forward for the world we're looking for the life we're looking for. Because a lot of times people can't even really think about the world as a whole when they're
Yeah.
dealing with so much of their own traumas and
Hmm.
things they're
Yeah.
working through. And when you work through that, it
Yeah.
opens you up to start this whole world. And what
Yeah.
a difference. What a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I just can't thank you enough. And I do there was something on your website. You also have audio and video series that people can download. Is that
Sure.
like
Right. Yeah.
one
Yes, I
was
do.
the kicking the money habit, the family
Hmm.
survival kit,
Hmm.
making business life happen, and
Hmm.
good grief theta healing and so much more that's
Yeah.
on there. But I think that's such a great thing because a lot, some people are a little hesitant, like, I don't know if I really want to talk to someone one on one, but maybe I can download, work through it, and then go, okay, now I'm ready to talk.
Hmm.
So I think that's something so important to have for people, and I'm so happy you're offering that for
Oh,
people.
thank you. Thank you.
So
Yes, no, I haven't. And we have the free gift too today, which
yeah,
is called Love Yourself, which is a brief, like this was just this brief theta healing, got all these energetic downloads and perspectives on things. I think it's about 4 or 5 minutes long. It's very short and it's about loving yourself. And so the more you listen to that and get those
mm,
really yummy downloads, the more it helps you love yourself even more and more and more. So once again, the cumulative thing. And I say with this meditation, if you listen to it right before you go to sleep, it's kind of a
mm,
cool time to do it because, as you know, whatever you go to sleep with marinates in your subconscious mind the whole night. So
okay.
for 5 minutes or 4 minutes of downloads to last for 7 or 8 hours, that's a cool thing. That's,
Yeah, absolutely. And to have
yeah,
something positive because
yeah,
honestly, we're bombarded with negativity like
right. Yeah,
24/7. To
yeah,
have something positive, to have something you're working on yourself. So many people want to work on myself. I don't know how. I don't have the
right.
time.
Yeah,
And this is something 4 or 5 minutes.
yeah, you can do
It's
it.
easy to fit in, easy to fit in.
Yeah, exactly.
So, if there was something you could say to listeners to help them start living more in their alignment to their highest potential, is there one thing that stands out or a couple of things that stand out for that? Or what's your thoughts?
You know, I think there's something about it's the most important and the one of the kindest things you can do for yourself is to become your best ally, to become
Mm,
your inner ally, because you can look at people on the outside and you can think, oh, this person has it all. They have this, they have that. There's so many great things in their life. I want that. But you do not know what they're saying to
mm,
themselves. And
Yes.
when you can really start changing your inner dialogue and the way that you speak to yourself, you are going to make such a profound difference in your life. And a lot of us feel like there are areas in our life where we really, we do speak well, and those are the places you're doing well in your life. And where you speak poorly to yourself are the places that are the biggest challenge. And
Mm,
so,
true.
the work that I do gets to that deepest level and do that, and what you can do to become your inner ally at home without being trained, without having to go through courses and all of that sort of stuff, is lean into what makes you happy. I know
Mm,
it's the simplest
but
thing. Grab your guitar, grab your friend,
yeah.
go to a movie, take a hike. If you've only got 5 minutes, do something for 5 minutes that makes you happy, or walk around the block, do something, because you're always going to be taking care of everybody else. That part of your life is going on right now,
Right.
and maybe that goes on for the rest of your life. I can't say. But if you take that time to be your inner ally, if you take time to lean into your joy and do something lovely for yourself, that will refuel you
Yeah.
so that you can help them again, but you can help them from a different place. And that will heal burnout. If you become your inner ally, if you do things that, and or you could say, like, put the oxygen mask on yourself first, right?
Yeah, right.
Save yourself first here. You're going, you're going to have some profound changes that are going to happen in your life. And it's going to be fun to be a part of that. That's all I can
Mm,
say.
love it. Love it.
Yeah.
And it's, we talk about the changes and the profound changes, and you and I have both done some major changes in our lives, and
Yeah.
major switches. And it doesn't mean it wasn't challenging along the way, but
Right.
when you come out the other side,
Yeah.
it is so worth it. It's so worth that personal freedom and
Yeah.
freedom of you that you create. It's worth everything. And my team is saying, and how much is money, the paper money worth?
Right. Right.
How much are you worth taking
Right.
that time for you?
Yeah, it could bring all that too, right? It will bring some part of it. It's just, money is just a place you love yourself. It just happens to be in your wallet, right? And
Absolutely.
so the more you love yourself, the more you're allowing all of these other areas of your life to get better.
And that allows the money to flow in easily
Absolutely.
without working so hard.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's so key because so many people think they have to work so hard.
Yes.
And now is the time, use the 80/20 rule. I love your
Mm-hmm.
80/20 rule.
It ain't mine, but I'm glad I know about it. I'm using it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. I like that.
Absolutely. And what you're doing for people, I feel, is making such a huge difference. I know it's making such a huge
Thank
difference
you.
for
Thank you.
people all around the world. And I can't thank you enough for all you're doing. And I am myself, I'm hope people, I'm encouraging people to go to your website, and it's thinktheta.com, and also your Instagram and Facebook is Think Theta, and Karen.Abrams.90. I will have those links down below, and also the Love Yourself meditation. The link to that will be down below. It's so important. I love what you're doing, and I love you. Your energy is just
Oh, thank you.
beautiful. It's
Thank
just,
you.
it's that calm, and we all need the calm right now. We
Mm-hmm.
need to know we can make it
Yeah.
through. You
Yeah.
do give hope. You
Oh,
do
thank you.
give hope.
Thank you. And it's
Yeah.
been such an honor to be here with you and share your space here. It's been so much fun. I
Oh,
so
thank you.
appreciate you and what you bring to the world too, just so you know.
Oh,
It's a
thank you
mutual
so
fan
much.
club.
I love it. I love it. And I'm just so enamored. And my team is just saying, I just keep hearing from them, thank you, thank you, thank you to you
Mm,
for all you're doing. Because I also keep hearing, be ready for the next step, because I feel like it's going to just continue to grow for you and in leaps
thank
and
you.
bounds. And they're just saying, be ready for the next step, because so many people need to hear what you're saying and to
Mm,
experience what you're offering. So thank you so much for that.
awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, what is there anything else you'd like to say before we close today, Karen?
I think that there's just this sense of always, oh, I'm sorry, there's a few little different things are coming in at once. So let me see. Anything more that I can say? I say I'm just going to double down, honestly. I'm just going to double down. Lean into your joy. You need to hear this about 3 or 4 different times. Lean into your joy, lean into your joy, lean into
Love it.
your joy. You're hearing it. It's coming out from the universe. I'm right.
Yes,
This is
yes.
okay to be right on, and for me to say that in this situation, I'm right.
I know you're
So
right.
lean in and do something wonderful for yourself today, just so that you can start rebuilding that relationship with yourself and start keeping the promises that you used to break. And
Mm,
you're just going to create such an inner strength here and an inner kind of structure that is going to be so much more resilient and strong than you've ever had before when you do that.
love that because now there's so much of the negativity.
Yeah.
If everybody just blocks it out for just a bit,
Yeah.
and like you and your team, who you are working with, said,
Mm-hmm.
lean into your joy.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
That's what you need to
Absolutely.
do. So
Absolutely.
amazing, amazing. So thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate all your knowledge, all of your healing, all of your love you've shared with others. And again, for people, go to her website, thinktheta.com, and it's on Instagram, Facebook, and make sure to check out the Love Yourself meditation. And Karen, thank you so much for your time, sharing your knowledge, sharing your heart. I appreciate it so much. And I just want to encourage everyone, make sure to watch the next episodes of Edge Talk Radio. They are on the first and third Wednesdays of the month at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you've missed any past episodes, no worries. You can listen to any of the downloadable podcasts on pretty much all of the downloadable podcast areas, or watch the interviews on either my YouTube channel or Edge Magazine's YouTube channel. And I just want to thank you all for listening, expanding, and amplifying our universe together. Have an absolutely amazing day.